And welcome to NAFDAC and Your Health, where we bring you all the important information you need to know about NAFDAC. The agency is saddled with the responsibility of safeguarding our health by ensuring that the foods, drugs, cosmetics, and medical equipment made available to us are safe and wholesome. My name is Tosin Adebayo.
On today's program, the essence of security and safety in the value chain of the agro-allied sector with regards to the use of pesticides is our focus. A few months ago, the agency announced the ban of 30 pesticides and other chemicals found to be harmful to the health of Nigerians and their environment.
There is a lot of misuse of agrochemicals. An example is the sniper that is supposed to be agrochemicals that is being used as insecticide. And what is good for insects is not good for, for human beings. First of all, it's not supposed to be used within the house. It's supposed to be used on the field and on the farm where the air will blow things out or no, blow the fumes up. The fact that a chemical can kill cockroach doesn't mean that that chemical cannot kill human beings. If it's insecticide, it is usually as a spray and it is meant for indoor use. The clovers that people were using is not a spray and it's not meant for indoor use. And to the point that people, some people use it, unfortunately, to commit suicide. And another thing is the size. They were being sold in 100 ml size that, on the roadside that anybody can easily buy. So that was why we put a ban on just the 100 ml and then restrict the sale of the bigger pack to dealers that have been given permits to sell. Agrochemicals that are supposed to be used on the field should not be used on beans. It is not just that it's harmful to the person applying it, but if those bags of beans will be shipped out as export, the other country will test for pesticide residue. They're going to be destroyed because there will be pesticide residue that will be left on it. And if they don't come through NAFDAC, we will not be able to test. But more importantly is the health of the person that is applying it. We Nigerians don't think chemicals can hurt us. Chemicals can kill slowly. It's just a matter of time. That person that is applying it over and over and over may start having problem with breathing, may start having problem, cancer causing, chemicals if such are, and that person may develop cancer later, especially if he has used it for so many years. So chemicals are very dangerous if they are misused.
NAFDAC, in its bid to make sure that agro-produce are safe for consumption, has put in place various measures to nip in the bud the use of non-certified pesticides.
We all know that the world is a global village now, and there are loads of technological advancements. It's all very dynamic, so we have to move with the trends. So NAFDAC, in its wisdom, reviews our guidelines every 3 years. But that's not cast in stone, because where there are new developments, regardless that it's not up to 3 years, we review the guidelines so that we keep abreast of current trends. The same way we review our regulations every 5 years. So there is also mandatory listing of agrochemical marketers. That is one way we ensure control of the pesticides. And then when there are new molecules that are to be used as pesticides, there's something called field trials. So we monitor the field trial evaluations when these are done as part of our regulatory functions to ensure that pesticides are well adapted and they are fit for use.
For the benefit of education, wrongful application of pesticides, whether in crop production, animal production, manufacturing, or home, leaves residual substance with devastating effect.
The pesticide residue starting from the farm, for instance, when you have the high residue in maize, the possibility of woman consuming it when eating the corn or when eating the flakes that is made from the corn, or you are eating any other product made from such corn, the residue is there, which can knock off the kidney, it can damage the liver, it can result to rashes, to cancer, to malformation and damage of reproductive organs. Now, outside that, when the corn gotten from this, the corn that have this high residue is used to produce animal feed, the residue is passed to the animal. And the animal will deposit that residue in the egg, in the milk, in the meat. And it continues like that along the value chain. That is the danger of residue from the farm. Now, if you use this pesticide at home and you are not adhering strictly to the instruction on them, you can have the residue on your plate, on your bed, on your food, and it poses danger to man. Now, it also has a very serious detrimental effect on the environment. Now, when pesticides are wrongly applied, or you after application, you now want to wash your utensil, the sprayer, and all that, and you dispose the wash off indiscriminately, it constitutes hazard to the environment. And these practices are what we engage people on in our advocacy. You don't just dispose the wash off anyhow or pouring it into the drain or the can. You just empty the can and throw it like a piece of paper. No, all this pose danger to the environment.
So Sniper really is a brand name for DDVP, which is a pesticide. So NAFDAC's current position on this is that little packs of DDVP, which is Sniper, 100 ml pack sizes, anything 100 ml and below, has been banned by NAFDAC. And the reason is because it's easy for people to access it and then misuse and abuse it. So that's been banned. But the bigger pack sizes are not banned. So if, like I said earlier, people stick to the directions of use as stated on the label by the manufacturer, we wouldn't have any of these issues that are coming up. And part of those instructions on the labels would include the withholding period. So a withholding period will be something like the period between when the pesticide is applied to the crop, you withhold it. So that period between the time you release it to the market is that withholding period. And these are all always stated by the manufacturer who has done all the scientific evaluation and knows that if you use a particular pesticide on a crop, you should give it some time, to get to a level that will be safe for people to now use that crop as food.
NAFDAC and your health will be right back. Please stay tuned. The attention of NAFDAC has been drawn to the activities of some imposters and fraudulent individuals impersonating the Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Christiana Adeyeye, via our social media accounts, Facebook and LinkedIn. These imposters are asking for money in exchange for employment and other favors. This is a security breach. NAFDAC and the Director General will never request for gratification to carry out its mandate. As a result of this, the social media accounts of the Director General will no longer be in use until further notice. Members of the public are hereby advised to exercise due caution and report any such activity to EFCC on +234 809 332 2644 or Department of State Services on +234 915 339 1309 in Nigeria. For international, call UK Interpol on +44 797 115
3192 or the U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigation on +1 800 225 5324. Signed, the management.
Alert on substandard pediatric cough syrups circulating in Gambia. The National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is notifying healthcare providers and the public of the death of 66 children in Gambia following the use of 4 substandard cough syrups as reported by WHO in September 2022. The 4 products are promethazine oral solution, cofexmalin baby cough syrup, Macof baby cough syrup, and Maghrib and cold syrup. Laboratory analysis of samples of the 4 products confirm that they contain unacceptable amounts of diethylene glycol and ethylene glycol as contaminants. Diethylene glycol and ethylene glycol are toxic to humans when consumed and can prove fatal. Toxic effects can include abdominal pain, vomiting, diarrhea, inability to pass urine, headache, altered mental state, and acute kidney injury, which may lead to death. The stated manufacturer of these products is Maiden Pharmaceuticals Limited, Haryana, India. To date, the stated manufacturer has not provided guarantees to WHO on the safety and quality of these products. The substandard products in this alert are unsafe, and their use, especially in children, may result in serious injury or death. The products are not registered by NAFDAC, therefore should not be in circulation. NAFDAC implores importers, distributors, retailers, and consumers to exercise caution and vigilance within the supply chain to avoid the importation, distribution, sale, and use of the substandard cough syrups. All medical products must be obtained from authorized, licensed suppliers. The product's authenticity and physical condition should be carefully checked. Members of the public in possession of the above listed products are advised to discontinue sale or use and submit stock to the nearest NAFDAC office. If you have these substandard products, please do not use them. If you or someone you know have used these products or suffered any adverse reaction or event after use, healthcare professionals and consumers are encouraged to report any suspicion of adverse drug reaction and substandard and falsified medicines to NAFDAC on 0800 162 3322 or email sf.alert@nafdac.gov.ng. NAFDAC, customer focused, agency minded.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, you're watching NAFDAC and your health.
Maintaining a high level of integrity in the process of getting agricultural produce to the consumer requires proper regulation, which NAFDAC does not compromise.
Now, the maximum residue limit we use in Nigeria is in line with the recommended value of Codex Alimentarius Commission, because NAFDAC is a signatory and a country member of Codex Alimentarius Commission. Now, we have the range of it in line with each type of pesticide we're looking at. And to add to that, any new molecule of pesticide that is coming into the country, which perhaps Codex might not have developed a maximum residue limit for, we also carry out field trial for it. This is done in conjunction with researchers in the country from the universities, research institute, and the likes. And then we work on them, and it's a comprehensive research that is being carried out to determine the safety, the efficacy, and of such new molecule. And in that process, a recommended residual limit is developed. And when we have such developed, we adhere to it as a national standard.
Agrochemicals
have their advantages and they have their disadvantages as well. And they are known to be very hazardous, and that is why we have what we call a pre-harvest interval or period. We also have re-entry period or interval. Now the pre-harvest interval basically is the amount of time that will lapse, or like a waiting time between when you apply your pesticides and then when you harvest your crop. Now it is important for you to note that when you are applying your pesticides to your crop, the label actually will let you know when this waiting period, the number of waiting period that you need to wait for. The whole essence is to ensure that you have no unacceptable level of pesticides on your crop, which means that your crop, once consumed, will not be deleterious to human beings, meaning that crops will be okay for consumption locally, and then we're okay as well for use, because we have some crops that are being used for animal feeds, like the maize. Then we have the re-entry. Now the re-entry period or re-entry interval is usually the amount of time that will lapse between when you apply a pesticide and when you're allowed to go back into the field. Once you apply your pesticides, you're supposed to wait for a certain period before you go back into the field. Now, the whole essence why you're trying to do this is to reduce exposure of farmers, personnel working on the farm to these pesticides. So you're supposed to have a period you're supposed to wait for before you go back into the field once the pesticides has been applied. Now for such field, you're supposed to have like a warning sign very close to the field saying that this is the pesticide that was applied, this was when it was applied, and this is the re-entry time. So whoever is there in the field, whoever goes to the field to go and work knows that, okay, pesticide has been applied on this particular date, and I'm supposed to re-enter this field on this particular date. Now, if for any reason you have to go into that field, then it is important that you put on your personal protective equipment, that you actually have the personal protective equipment and the special clothing that you wear to ensure that you are not exposed to pesticides, because some people might want to go in there to weed or go in there to collect samples or any of these things. So you must make sure that if you have to go back into the field, knowing that it has just been sprayed, then you need to make sure that you have on your PPE, that's your personal protective equipment.
So there is also mandatory listing of agrochemical marketers. That is one way we ensure control of the pesticides. And then when there are new molecules that are to be used as pesticides, there's something called field trials. So we monitor the field trial evaluations when these are done as part of our regulatory functions to ensure that pesticides are well adapted and they are fit for use.
As NAFDAC keeps setting the standard operating process in the use of agrochemicals, it is also expected that those who operate in the agro-allied sector will hold themselves to high standard.
It's very important that farmers adhere strictly to the pre-harvest and re-entry period for products that they use in the field, because it's number one, it's a good agricultural practice. It's one of the good agricultural practices amongst other practices that you're supposed to follow once you're farming. And we all know that there are so many routes of exposure of pesticides. We're looking at exposure through inhalation, we're looking at exposure through ingestion, and then we're looking at exposure through dermal contact, that's through the skin. Most likely you're having diarrhea and you don't even know where the source is from. It could be from issues of pesticides residue. And then we have the long-term effect when the cumulative effects of taking taking crops with residue on them over a long period of time. And then we have effects such as reproductive dysfunction. We have issues of birth defect. We have issues of several issues of cancers, and then we have issues as well as asthma. There are entry period as well. If you enter into a field that you didn't adhere to the re-entry time, then you're going to be exposed as a person to pesticides. Now, your exposure could come from inhaling from the atmosphere where the pesticides was applied, or even by walking through the field, you have contact from the pesticides on the leaves that will brush your skin or brush your clothes and that you take home with you. So you could be having issues of conjunctivitis, you could be having issues of tearing, you could be having issues of sweating, you could be having issues of rashes and all that, which you probably might not want to relate.
Irresponsible use of pesticide is hazardous to the overall well-being of Nigerians, who are the end users of agro-allied products, and NAFDAC is saying the right usage of these chemicals will safeguard our health.
Our advice to the public and to all our wonderful stakeholders that handles pesticide along the food chain, starting from the farm to the household, is this. One, to those that are handling it as marketer, please adhere strictly to all the safety precautions. Don't stock chemical in your facility and sit inside the same room with your chemical. You are killing your kidney gradually. That's one. Then, to those that are conveying it on logistics, please, when there is any spillage on the way, report it. Maybe you run into a rough road, there are gallops, and the container got busted, report it. There are cleaning procedures that will be used to clean your vessel, either your truck or your ship or the crate you use to convey it. There are standard procedures to be used, so you have to report it. Now, to those of us that are using the pesticide, especially on farm, please read the instruction. Adhere to the instruction. To those of us that are using it in the house, don't use farm chemical in the house. Look for the household chemical for use in the house. It's for our safety, because most of these chemicals are persistent in the environment, and continued inhalation of it can damage the lungs, can damage the kidney. And finally, I want to advise all Nigerians, please know what you eat, because pesticides are being used in food production. Try to know what you eat. When you get to the market, you want to buy beans, use your hand to hold the beans tight, release it, and smell your hand. If you don't smell the characteristics odor of a beans, and you are smelling something like kerosene, something smelling similar to diesel or kerosene, or something volatile, please don't buy.
And that's our package for today. Please join us same time, same station next week for a fresh edition. In the meantime, if you have comments, complaints, or you want to report activities of fake drugs or adulterated food product peddlers, our doors are always open. You can reach NAFDAC via toll-free numbers. For inquiries, call 0700 162 3322. For complaints, call 0800 162 3322. You may also email NAFDAC at nafdac.gov.ng. If you have complaints about any form of misconduct, you can reach the Reforms Unit via email, reforms@nafdac.gov.ng, or call the Reforms hotlines on 0909 763 0506 or 0909 763 0507. NAFDAC, customer focused, agency minded. Importing, producing, distributing and selling fake drugs and cosmetics, adulterated food and so on are criminal activities that destroy lives. Join the fight against these heinous crimes by reporting any suspicious activities in your area to NAFDAC. Let's join hands to safeguard the health of our nation. See you next week. Stay safe.